The MSP industry has a reputation of being a challenging place to work, where burnout is common, poorly run companies exist, and it's just a hard place to be. And I think that reputation is largely earned. Lots of MSPs struggle with kind of running the business side of the world and being good places to work. But what if your company was set up for success? What if your people loved working for you? And what if your company was, dare I say it, a destination employer? What would that look like for you? What would that look like for your people? My name is Adam Hanneman. Welcome to Ramblings of a Geek. I've been in the MSP space for the better part of a couple decades, and I've worked for some good MSPs. I've worked for some not so good MSPs. I've seen plenty of good and plenty of bad in my travels in the peer groups and beyond, and I have a lot to say about this topic. I also like to think that when I was in leadership at my former MSPs, that I was a force for good in those places. Now, it certainly wasn't perfect. I like to think, or at least hope, that I did more good than bad for my people. So let's talk for a few minutes about setting your company up for success as it relates to being a good place to work for. The first thing you should think about and work to level up are your mission and your core values and those kinds of things. Now, plenty of companies have core values on the wall someplace and nobody really pays attention to them, or they're just kind of the words on the wall that everybody has different definitions of. Well, I think you need to level this up. I think the best practice for you is to document and demonstrate what good looks like in those worlds and document what bad looks like, right? Describe when someone is just crushing this core value and making it great, and describe when they're really struggling with it, right? Make sure that people understand and are on the same page with all things core values, all things kind of your mission of your company. Then that removes it from just being words on the wall to something that's actually tangible. Then it becomes your litmus test for how you operate your day-to-day. It becomes your litmus test for how you hire, fire, promote, move people around. It might even be a litmus test for which clients you'd bring on board and when you maybe eject a client for maybe being a bad fit within your organization. Now, of course, your clients aren't going to adhere to your core values and those kinds of things, but if they're a really strong mismatch, you might consider it, right? The last piece with this particular side of the world is you need to make sure that you live your core values yourselves. If you're a leader or an owner of an MSP or a small business and you have these core values written and documented and adhered to by everybody else, those need to apply to you as well. This cannot be one of those situations where the rules are for thee, not for me, right? Those are bad precedent to set, and you don't want that pervasive within your company culture. The next thing is you must fix your employee onboarding. If your employee onboarding stinks, and you probably know if it does or doesn't, but if your employee onboarding stinks, it sets everything up for failure on down the road. This is so important that I actually recorded a whole video about it. I'll link that above. But the Cliffs Notes of this are, make sure you have all their gear set up on day one and make sure it's decent stuff. Make sure that you have a good training plan set up for them. Make sure you give them a mentor, someone to ask questions, show them the ropes pretty well. And then make sure that you set up your one-on-ones and your reviews and those kinds of things, and then give them a career path. If you do those few things, you're going to set them up for so much more success than otherwise done. And frankly, an onboarding is really that first real taste of your company, and you want that to go well. Let's lean into setting up your team for success a little bit more, because that's really important. Now, I mentioned it just a minute ago with the one-on-ones and reviews and those kinds of things, but that's so important. I'm going to say it twice. Having good one-on-ones where the employee is able to share what's going on in their world, able to share what challenges they're running into and what they need from you is really, really important. So make sure that your employees have a good one-on-one cadence with whomever their manager is, whether that's you or there's a service manager or somebody else, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that's happening. Then you want to make sure that you've got good employee reviews. Your employee reviews really should be just that. It should be a review. There shouldn't be any brand new information coming, unless maybe it's good, in a review, because your review should be like 20-30% review, and then the rest of it should be planning for what the future is going to look like for them within the organization and give them something to look forward to. If you can shift your reviews to those kinds of conversations, your employees are going to really appreciate them much, much more. Then we talk a little bit about transparency and clarity with leadership, because frequently in the MSP space, and really any business, but frequently in the MSP space, there's lots of secrets around what's going on within the organization, or it's just not clear. And oftentimes, just the overall company direction isn't clear. So it's important as a leader within your organization to really clearly define what your destination is and where the employees are helping you drive the company towards, and give them something, again, to look forward to. Give them something to lean into and help drive and grow the company. Give them some purpose behind their role, and how what they do on a day-to-day basis will help you get to wherever that happens to be. Those things are really important. You want to be even with your leadership too. You don't want to be giving one or two employees all of the perks and everybody else kind of gets the scraps or whatever. You want to make sure that you're as even as you possibly can be, and that your managers that work for you are as even in their leadership as possible as well. Sometimes what you find when you look at some of these businesses is that companies sometimes lead by fear, largely because they don't have other tools in their toolkit for leading other directions. MSPs and small businesses in general, especially when they're service-based, built by the practitioner of the service, don't often have a lot of leadership experience, don't have lots of management experience and training and those kinds of things. And so sometimes the tools that they have are very rudimentary when it comes to leading people and connecting with people and having empathy and those kinds of things. And as a leader within your organization, you want to make sure that you're leveling up your skills as a leader as well, and working to not lead just by fear. You want to lead with a future picture and a vision for them to help move the company towards. Give your employees a way to grow and do those kinds of things. When you do that, and you do that transparently enough, you don't need to show everything out there, but transparently enough, you'll find that your team is much more willing to help move the company forward, because they see how their role works within the organization and how their role moves things forward, right? If you can do those things, your team is going to appreciate working for your business. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room for a minute, because one of the common themes with talking to MSPs, especially employees that maybe didn't succeed at MSP, is the concept and conversation around being overloaded and being burnt out and those kinds of things. It's certainly possible, and frankly, sometimes likely in our space, because there's always another ticket. There's always another client that's pissed off. There's always another server down or service down or something to go deal with, right? There's always something else to go do. That is not normal when you compare what we do on the MSP side with corporate IT, right? And so when folks come from corporate IT, that's one of the first things that they feel and see. But being overloaded isn't just about corporate versus not corporate IT. It's really also about making sure that you are allowing your team space to work on some other stuff and not feel like they have to always put in 45, 50, 55 hours a week. I once worked for a company that told me in the interview process that we're not really a 40-hour-a-week company. We're really more like a 45-hour-a-week company. And let me tell you, that was false. They were really more like a 50, 55-hour kind of company. And I should have run away from that interview as fast as I can. I learned the hard way by going there and finding out that it was really just just drive to do all the tickets, work as many billable hours as possible, and with lots of nebulous, future benefits and bonuses and stuff that never ever came to fruition, no matter how hard we worked and no matter how many hours we put in and how many hours we build. So it's really important for you and your organization to make sure that you are fostering a company and a culture that, yes, asks your team to work hard and do the things they need to get done, but also give them a little space to do some training, catch their breath from time to time, and not always ask them to work overtime all the time, right? Every once in a while, things are going to happen, right? We work in IT, yeah, things break, things go down, there are issues. But if that becomes the norm and not the exception, then that really becomes a situation where you probably need to level up your clients, level up management skills, level up all of the things to make it so that way your team isn't always having to pick up a ton of extra slack. Your team's willing to pick up some extra slack for the overall benefit of the company, but not if it's all the time. That's one of the things that leads to burnout. Another thing that leads to burnout is being forced to do a bunch of work that they don't like to do, right? And yeah, it's work. And yeah, people just need to get the job done. But if you put somebody in a position where the majority of what they do, they hate, they won't work for you very long. So make sure that if you're doing that, or if that's a situation, that there's a path out of whatever that happens to be. If there's a path out of it and it's a short-term thing, most people can deal with a short-term thing. But if it's a ongoing, no end in sight kind of a situation, I would expect that person to probably hit the eject button sooner than later and not be exactly happy about it when they leave. We work in a challenging industry. The MSP industry requires a lot of everybody. And oftentimes it's super rewarding, right? As a technician, you get to touch all kinds of different stuff that you'd never get to touch if you're in corporate IT. As an owner, you get a whole bunch of freedom about being able to build a company up and be able to maybe take some time away as you kind of build a bigger company. And you kind of get to do what you want because, of course, you own the company. With all of that positive, there's certainly this negative. And so my point of today's video is really to minimize the negative and lift up your whole team. If you can lift up your whole team and make your whole company healthier and take care of your people, they're going to take care of your clients. And when they take care of your clients, your company will flourish. Now, if you want to look at more leadership stuff and more things about like growing teams and whatnot, I'll put a video up here about growing teams and some of those kind of things. And I'll put my one-on-one video up here over here as well. Thanks for coming on this ramble with me, and I hope to see you on the next one.